Hey everyone! In this unit, we're going to be talking about interest. In this first chapter, simple interest refers to interest that is on a short-term loan. Okay, so basically short-term being anything shorter than a year. In the next chapter, chapter 9, which is also in this unit, we're going to start talking about compound interest. And compound interest is for greater than a year and literally compounds, as in if you're investing money and any interest you earn in the first year, if you leave it in there, then in the second year your interest is going to earn interest, and your interest is going to earn interest. And that's how our investments, especially if we're looking at, for example, RRSPs for retirement, if we keep those interest earnings in there, then we're going to earn even more interest. But to start off, we're going to start about talking about simple interest. Okay. So when we talk about simple interest, as I mentioned, it's on short-term loans and investments. And the basics of simple interest involves the interest, the principal, so the amount of the loan or the investment, the rate of interest, so your annual rate for your percentage, and the term, time period in years of the loan or investment. And keeping in mind where we're talking about simple interest here, we'll be talking in partial years. Maybe it's only for 30 days. Okay, so your formula is your interest equals your principal times the rate of interest times the term, the period of time that the money is either invested or loaned. Okay, so this diagram really helps the calculations be clear. Okay, so as we saw in the last formula, interest equals principal times rate times term. But what if we're looking to calculate the principal? Then, looking at your triangle, if you take out the principal, the P, then you have I divided by R times T. Okay, so as you can see in that triangle, I, and then there's a line, so that you divide by your rate times your term. And it's the same for the other two. Your rate equals your interest divided by your principal times your term. And same, your term equals your interest divided by your principal times your rate. Okay, so this triangle, if you remember that triangle, it makes remembering the rest of the formulas easy. Okay, so easier. So what it's saying is you need to know at least 3 of the factors to be able to figure out what the fourth one is. Okay, so suppose you borrow $500 for 1 year at a rate of 6% per annum per year. How much simple interest will you pay? Let's pause the video for a second or a couple of minutes and see if you can calculate this one. Okay, so use the I divided by PRT. You want to figure out how much simple interest you will pay. So that is your I. Okay, so let's solve it together. Hopefully you did pause the video first. I'm determined to say video for a second to try the calculation yourself. Okay, so this always helps as well, okay, or I find it does. Write out what you have. Okay, so we have I, P, R, and T. We need to figure out what the I is. So we've got an I equals question mark. We know what the P is. We know what the principal is. It's 500. We know what the term is. It's 1 year. And we know what the rate is, 6%, or to put it easily into a formula, 0.06. So now we try our formula, I equals PRT. So $500 times 0.06 times 1 is $30. So how much simple interest will you pay? You will pay $30. Okay, so remember to be able to put it in a sentence as well. Calculate what you're trying to calculate and then go back to the question to figure out, okay, well, what is the question that's being asked, so that you make sure that you very clearly say what the answer is. Okay, so try this one. If a 3-month term deposit pays a simple interest rate of 1.5%, how much must be deposited in order to earn $100 of interest? Okay, so remember the 4 that you have. You have the I, you have the P, you have the R, you have the T. Figure out which ones you have and which one you're trying to calculate. And remember, for the term, we want it in years. Okay, so if it's only a 3-month term, calculate that or change that over to what does that represent as a year. Pause your video, give this calculation a try. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video, you gave it a try. Let's look at the answer. So you're given your term, 3 divided by 12. You could convert that over to a decimal if you'd like. It would be, well, that reduced would be 1/4 or 0.25. Your rate, we want to convert the percentage over to a decimal as well. So 0.015 because it's 1.5%. We know what the interest earned is, which is $100, but we want to know how much must be deposited. So what amount do we start with? That's your principal. So we know we need to solve for the principal. So think back to your triangle. So we have P, or your principal, equals I divided by RT. So 100 divided by, and then we have your 1.5% or your 0.015. And then you multiply that by either 3/12 or 0.25. Okay, so once you have your denominator, you divide your numerator by your denominator, and that is going to give you $26,666.67. Let's try this one. Interest of 78.42, so we have our interest, was charged on a loan of $1,500, so that's your principal, for 7 months. That's your term. What simple annual rate of interest, so there you need to know your R. Pause the video, give it a try. So here we have R equals I divided by PT. And once you calculate that out, it works out to a rate of 8.96%. And try this one. How long must you invest $4,000 at a simple interest rate of 2.5% in order to earn $50 of interest? Give it a try. Okay, so we're trying to figure out our term. T equals I divided by PR, and it works out to 0.75 years, or 9 months. At this point, I'm going to stop the video, give the exercises for the section 7.1 a try in this chapter, and then I will continue with a new video where we will go over 7.2, which is determining the time period. So we'll have a little bit more precise time periods. We could be down to the number of days and how to calculate that. And we will look at that in the next video. Thanks, everyone.